Hello and welcome to my next video, and today I would like to introduce you to a new series where I'm going to be taking you for a visit to other people's art collection. I own a very small art collection, so I thought that it would be really interesting to go and visit other people's art collection. And despite what many people think, collecting art is not that expensive. You don't have to be very rich to do it, you just have to know the way how to do it. First, I would like to take you to central Birmingham. It's a new sort of a new concept for a gallery, which is a gallery in somebody's flat. And that somebody is called Alex, whose idea of starting the gallery actually came from his own interest in art and from his own art collecting. So,
hi Roma, come in.
thank you.
So I'm Alex. I moved back to Birmingham after 5 years in London or so for work. I work here now and I live in the centre of the city. When I was in London, I started a very small or minuscule art collection, which has slowly grown over the years. Very early career artist normally, but then as it's developed, I've branched into photography as well as paper art and traditional art as well. So I've got that collection, which I'll show you later if you'd like to see it. And also I've started this gallery project whereby people can come and see the work on the wall and have dinner with us. So yeah, the first thing I collected was this, by an artist called Tristan Picots. He studied at the Camberwell School of Art in London, South London, and I was working there at the time, all around that area. There was a gallery called the GX Gallery, which has a lot of people who have studied at the Camberwell School of Art showing there. They kind of started their careers as well as other more established artists. That was on the wall. Obviously, that isn't the original, but the original of that was on the wall. And I loved it, but obviously I couldn't afford it. So I emailed the artist and asked him, do you do prints? He said, no, I don't really do prints, but I can do one for you if you like. So went round to his studio, which happened to be a very short way from where I lived, and he sold me the print. And that was in 2013, which was 5 years ago, and the start of my kind of passion or bug for art collecting. What I liked about it was the fact that you got to speak to the artist and actually, unlike buying a mass-produced poster or something like that, you got to ask them questions about how it was that they made this thing. Well, if you come through here, so since then, I stayed in touch with that artist, and he invited me to lots of his shows. And there was a point at which I decided that I liked his work so much that I wanted to see if I could buy an original. And I went to the studio when this was half finished, and there was a companion piece, well not companion piece, but another piece the same size next to it, which was half finished as well. And I had the choice between the two. And eventually I decided to choose this piece. It's called Big Softy, and I love on it the detailing of the hands, the detailings of the hairs on the legs, the face, the eyes, and also the bubbles in the saucepan and the dirt on the hob. As a very lazy student myself, it really speaks to what I was like in my student experience. So I really like this, and that was my first big commitment really into buying a piece of art. Obviously the print, but then this was the real thing that I thought, yes, this is a real commitment for me and something I want to start getting into. So those are the two things I have from Tristan Picots. He's done very well since then. I think I bought that in 2015, and that year he was in the Royal Academy and also in the National Portrait Gallery as part of the BT Portrait Award. And he does brilliant stuff, really interesting stuff. This is a piece of sculpture that actually my grandfather made. He was a farrier, so he used to put the shoes on horses, but he was a very, I think, frustrated artist, and he loved sport. So this is his interpretation of the Tour de France. All the men hunched over their bikes, leaning forward. So I didn't have any photography until 2016. This is by a San Francisco-based photographer called Dominic Garcia from a series called Men Who Love Men. But actually, the person holding that guy's hand is a woman, so I think it's quite clever. And I love the fact that it's got a Apple technology in it, because I think that is so ubiquitous now to kind of the 21st century experience. Apple technology, phones in beds, laptops in beds. So that was my first photograph I bought. And then I branched out into photography when I was in Colombia. And I now have these two big photos by an artist called Mauricio Samayoa, who took that in Cali. And then this by him as well. This is a wall in one of the old areas of Cali. I think it's very cool. So, and I love the colours. I really love the colours in that. I forgot to mention this. This is part of mine. This is from the Ruben Colley Gallery. It's by an artist called Danny Howers, and it's called The Boxer, or A Young Boxer. He's got a slight cut under his eye, which you meant to see. I really like that because I just think it's beautifully painted. I like to know the background to the work a lot. I like to, if possible, have had the chance to speak to the artist. I just think you have to buy things you like. I like to know what the thinking is behind it, where people have trained, for example, although that might be a bit snobby or elitist perhaps, but I like to know that people have come from a school or a tradition of, even if it's a new tradition, but still so there's some thinking out of their work. One of the keys for me is early career artists. I don't want to necessarily have one of 50 prints by a very, very well established artist, because lots of people could have those things. For me it's more exciting, more interesting to find somebody at the beginning of their career, the very beginning, maybe their end of their BA show, end of the MA show, and find out what they're doing, and collect them early so that you can get things inexpensively and support them and help them to carry on with their next stage of their career and things like that. Perhaps it's a bit cheeky, but what I tend to do is to go into galleries, and if I see stuff I like, I often will Google the artist, see where they're showing next, see where they've moved from, possibly send them an email directly, reading the newspaper reviews and things like that. But also I did a few art tours in London, and one of the people there was an academic called Pujan Gandhi, and he now emails me once a year, twice a year, with recommendations of what he's seen, where he's been. He goes to a lot of art fairs and knows a lot of galleries around the world. So he will email me with a PDF document full of artists who he thinks are exciting, good, well composed, good technique, and are doing well. So that's how I've got the Ryan Travis Christians, for example. Going to art shows, for example, Birmingham has something called First Fridays, which is very exciting, where the galleries stay open later on the first Friday of every month. You can talk to lots of artists there. There's the Thousand Trade Pubs in the Jewellery Quarter, which once a month on a Thursday has a collection or a meeting of photographers, so you could go there and speak to those kind of people. I've started a kind of, what's the phrase? A pop-up social event, basically, where people come and have dinner and look at the art. So they look at my permanent collection, if I can be as pretentious as to call it that, but also people bring their stuff. So not just paper art, not just traditional art, zines, for example. We've had quite a few people, 2 people I think, bring zines over. Glassware. I think 2 weeks ago we had somebody who brought some erotic glassware around, which was very exciting. People have brought concrete work, for example, if you look over here. These 2 pieces are by different artists. The one at the back is by Philip Singleton, the one at the front is by Julie O'Neill. And then finally I should mention that the other things we have on as part of the gallery at the moment, not mine, but these are 2 works by an artist called Attilio, and these were hung in the Barber Institute, and this was the first ever photography exhibition that that gallery had had. So it's very exciting that they've been lent to us here. Come along, we're very happy to have you. Just find us on Instagram, Flat8 Gallery. We're happy to have you on a Wednesday, free meal, bring a bottle of wine, look at the works on the wall, wander around, talk to the artist. If you are an artist, please bring some of your work. We'll feed you and we'll just talk about art.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and subscribe to my channel. It will help me out a lot, and hopefully see you in the next video.